Here's a crazy stat for you. Fire Red and Leaf Green's file sizes on Switch are just 40 megabytes, which means you're paying 50 cents per megabyte. Also, we're losing just north of 1,000 cards when everything from the G block leaves standard on March 26th in Pokemon TCG Live and April 10th IRL. That's a massive number on its own, but when you compare it to the other blocks, it's absurd. In fact, we're currently on pace for just 500 new cards in the 2026 J block, which would put it at half of G. Needless to say, with nearly 40% of cards gone from the format, there's going to be some older cards who benefit from the major shift. Now, what I won't be doing in this video is highlighting the truly obvious cards helped by rotation. We all know pretty much every deck will run 4 copies of Lily's Determination. Ultra Ball is also going to be a mainstay in most decks, with Crispin's usefulness improving and Energy Search as our unfortunate Earthen Vessel replacement. Then there's Unfair Stamp. Originally, this wasn't going to be mentioned in the video. Then the first major post-rotation tournament in Japan with 7,000 players took place and 5 of the top 6 decks played it. Noctowl and Petrol can manually find Unfair Stamp, while Cypher Maniac can put it on top of your deck ahead of a Mega Kangaskhan or Dracloak or Pheasantipity. While it's already a fairly heavily played card, I couldn't exclude what is shaping up to be the best A-Spec post-rotation. Basically, what this Japanese tournament showed us is that stamping your opponent to 2 at any point is insanely powerful. Additionally, anyone who attacks for a single energy attachment or a Crispin and maybe energy switch is going to be at the top tables, with Mega Kangaskhan's ability to draw 2 cards extremely helpful. As a result, while it hasn't happened yet in Japan, don't be surprised if this A-Spec blocking Genesect becomes your new best friend in a month. With all that out of the way, let's officially begin my list of 10 cards that get better with rotation. I'm going to put this in numerical order to try and bait angry comments, but we all know that the order isn't perfect. Still, Judge probably gets helped out most by rotation, which sees I&O removed from the format. Expected to be reprinted in perfect order with a J regulation mark unless the Pokemon Company International screws up, Judge is the most reliable way to impact your opponent's hand. It's a shuffle draw 4 for both players, which means the words I&O to 1 and I&O is a lie will never be spoken again. For at least the first few months of 2026, you're going to have to give your opponent 4 cards and pray they don't get what they need. Or you're going to judge your opponent turn 1 going second, give them nothing, and they rage quit. Yeah, it's going to be like the dark days of Marnie all over again. Similarly, Lucian and Harlequin go from this card exists to I'm still not going to play it, but at least they do something. People with too much time on their feet did the math and determined that Harlequin has a better chance of helping you as it's a single coin flip. If heads, you get 5 cards, they get 3. But if it's tails, it's reversed. Lucian, meanwhile, could give them 6 cards versus 3 for you. And of course, Unfair Stamp is turning into the best A-Spec, giving you the best way to screw over your opponent, but if you prize it, you'll wish you had Judge. Naturally, the card that slots into the second spot is someone who can find Unfair Stamp. Without Arven, the good options for a turn 1 Precious Trolley goes down. While he's a cheap imitation of Arven, Petrol is sadly a card you might need to put 4 copies of into some of your decks. Whereas Arven was an item and tool, Petrol is just a trainer. The benefit is that Petrol can grab an item, tool, stadium, or supporter. The negative is that it can only get 1 card. I wish I had something more to say about the guy that looks like he gives free prostate exams behind Home Depot. While weaker than Arven, Petrol's live throughout the entire game, able to get whatever trainer you want, be it Pokepad, Watchtower, Unfair Stamp, Ultra Ball, Forest of Vitality, and so much more. Plus, it can be found with Meowth EX at any point. While I'm still in denial about my decks having to be fueled by Petrol, I'm sure my opinion will change after the first time I Petrol turn 1 for a Lilies so I can, play the game on turn 2. Like my wife's eyes when she walks into the room and I quickly close my laptop, the meta narrows without all those pesky G-block cards. If we end up mirroring Japan, the top 2 decks will be Dragapult and Lucario. And the perfect card to counter both of them through weakness is Clefairy, who takes easy one-shots for a Psychic and a Colorless. To say this card is everywhere in Japan would be an understatement. Any deck with Crispin and Psychic Energy plays it, including Terrabox and Kangaskhan. While every Psychic deck, like Slowcane, needs it to hit the top 2 decks for weakness. And unfortunately, even Dragapult is playing Clefairy for the mirror, which I'll talk about a little later. Another Psychic type improved by the new meta is Mega Diancie. Even with Gardevoir gone, this thing's been putting up numbers in Japan. Use Wondrous Patch or Smoochin to power it up, then easily one-shot Lucario or Dragapult thanks to Clefairy. Though, as you'll soon learn, both of them having a metal weakness is actually a bad thing. But if you give Clefairy a Pearl Necklace, it only gives up 1 prize, which is a good thing. Moving away from all that stupid top decks nonsense, the baby Okidogi gets kind of insane post-rotation. And the entire reason is Barbarical. In case you've forgotten, this new Perfect Order card accelerates a fighting energy from hand to any one of your fighting Pokemon regardless of where it is. Okidogi only needs 2 fighting energy to attack, but you don't actually want it to have 2 basic fighting. Instead, you only accelerate 1 with Barnacle Boy, then manually attach either Prism Energy, Legacy Energy, or a basic Darkness Energy. In doing so, Okidogi turns into a 230 hit point single prize basic who deals 170 damage for 2 energy. Obviously not the greatest attacker in history, but as you can see from this recent tier list in Japan compiled by Book, it has the potential to be a top 10-ish deck. The reason is simple. Pheasantipity and Meowth will be everywhere and both are weak to fighting. Additionally, you two-shot pretty much everything else. And for those who you come up short on, Baby Ursaluna exists, able to deal massive damage if you, say, hit into something early with Solrock. Because if their active has 70 damage on it, Mad Bite's doing 310. This is what you can expect from a post-rotation Okidogi list. The one Munkidori can help heal any chip damage that comes your way, while Battle Cage protects your bench against Dragapult and Dusknoir, and Terragon recovers your attackers and energy. Because all roads lead back to Dragapult, in the 5th spot we have Blaziken EX. Ironically, for the first week or so post-rotation, it did absolutely nothing. Then the meta shifted, players added it to their Dragapult lists, and now it's slowly becoming one of the many preferred ways to train your dragon. With Blaziken's ability accelerating any basic energy from the discard pile into play, Crispin isn't nearly as important, leaving room for someone like Dawn to help set up. Plus, you can shore up your weaknesses while also aggressively playing with your balls. Dragapult attacks for a fire and a psychic, so you can use Clefairy for the mirror or Lucario matchup with Blaziken one-shotting every grass type or metal type, including Mega Venusaur. Add in a couple darkness energy for Munkidori, now you don't care that luminous energy is out of standard. The only thing more infuriating than Dragapult having yet another excellent partner is the fact that For the Win doesn't have a second camera under his desk so we can see those perfect grippers. Also, there's literally just one new Perfect Order card in this list. And it's Meowth, who will be everywhere so you can turn an Ultra Ball into a supporter. Remember when I said Lily's Clefairy and Mega Diancie having a metal weakness was a bad thing? And Blaziken being able to one-shot metal types was a good thing? Well, this is why. Finally putting to rest the comments on my original video saying the title aged poorly, Steven's Metagross EX might finally be meta. While it's only won one tournament in the past few weeks, it has dozens of top 16 finishes, giving it relevancy. Unfortunately, the main partner for Metagross is Empoleon, who hasn't won many games for me in the past. But without Golden Go EX to take easy one-shots against this deck, and Fire not doing a whole lot, surviving a hit becomes much more possible. Thanks to Metagross's ability accelerating a Metal and Psychic Energy to your Metal and Psychic Pokemon each turn, this turns into kind of a toolbox deck. If you fail to get both Stage 2s set up, you can pivot to Lily's Clefairy or one of the 3 Megas with just Metagross. Skarmory snipes 220 damage anywhere, shuffling the energy back into your deck. Diancie can deal 240 damage while effectively having 300 hit points. And Mawile takes huge KOs towards the end of a game. As a reminder, this video isn't about the best overall old cards post-rotation. This is about some of the ones that get better after March 26th. And that fits Metagross EX to an X. Because it has an X on its face. Like when you have to talk to your Tinder date about her day before getting down to business, let me get the boring stuff out of the way right here. Super Rod is rotating out of standard, taking our best recovery card at least when it comes to shuffling things back into your deck. While we still have something like Night Stretcher that only brings back one card to your hand. And in a similar vein, Superior Energy Retrieval is also gone, leaving us with Inferior Energy Retrieval. For mass recovery post-rotation, you'll have to play either Sacred Ash, Energy Recycler, or both. Ash shuffles in up to 5 Pokemon, while Recycler does the same for energy. So while Super Rod could pull double duty, you might want to go with one of each. Looking at Sacred Ash, the deck who most take advantage of it is far and away Alakazam, followed by Thwacky Dipplin with Garchomp coming in the rear. Shifting to Energy Recycler, it's a much wider variety, though Steven's Metagross and Toxtricity appear to be the top 2, with things like Terrabox, Raging Bolt, Yanmega, and several decks running Crispin close behind. Let's get back to the fun, unexpected stuff. While Chien-Pao EX is rotating out of standard, another Chien-Pao is taking its place as a surprisingly highly playable card. But can you guess why? Well, obviously it's the ability, I mean the attack clearly sucks. But why is the ability so useful? Because Noctowl usage is about to skyrocket post-rotation, and Team Rocket's Watchtower is a bigger menace than Spider-Man. Chien-Pao turns Pokepad or Ultra Ball or Night Stretcher into a free stadium bumper, since the main other ways to find stadiums are with supporters like Petrol and Chorus's Thagacity and Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. So anything that relies on Noctowl to function, like Flareon or a Terrabox deck, is basically forced to play Chien-Pao because Watchtower ruins their entire strategy. And let's not forget that there's several other colorless Pokemon with great abilities, including Kangaskhan, Meowth, the Dunsparce, and Ursaluna, who all need there to not be a Watchtower in play. And yes, I realize I should have included Watchtower as its own slot, but how else would I masterfully bait people who don't watch the whole video into commenting that I forgot it? In the 9th spot, we have Smoochum, something I've been hyping up for a few weeks. Gardevoir EX and Xatu are gone on March 26th. While we do have Wondrous Patch to fill that hole, I'd rather kiss the hole than patch it up. I'll freely admit that Smoochum's usage isn't that high compared to the other cards on this list, but if you're under Badoo item lock, you'll be begging for a delightful kiss. For 0 energy, Smoochum accelerates 2 Psychic from deck to any one of your Pokemon. Doesn't matter who it is. The biggest user in Japan is Slowking, with Kangaskhan and Mega Slowbro not too far behind. Just keep in mind that Mega Slowbro might not come out in English for 6 months, so don't get too excited. I also wouldn't be surprised if Smoochum makes its way into Mega Gardevoir, Doublade, or even Ferregraph EX decks if the Happy Giraffe ends up seeing play. Basically, Smoochum is a free way to accelerate the energy into play that allows you to hit Dragapult and Lucario for weakness, and that can't be overlooked. If you're still not convinced, this Slowking plus Mega Slowbro deck finished second in the Seniors Division at that 7,000 player Japanese tournament. As you can clearly see, Smoochum is integral for allowing your attackers to attack. For the 10th and final spot, I wanted to do something wacky. A normal, well-adjusted person would have noticed that without Nest Ball, Dawn becomes almost a must-have in every Stage 2 deck. Especially Dragapult and Alakazam, since she can grab EXs as well as single prizers. Or that Hilda is amazing consistency in every evolution deck now that Earthen Vessel and Arven are gone. Especially since she can get Telepath Energy, which is a double Nest Ball in Psychic decks. But that's boring. So I'm dedicating number 10 to Evolution Jammer Bronzong, the wackiest card of them all. While it's fallen off dramatically since seeing an okay amount of play in the first week post-rotation, Bronzong benefits from the loss of TM Evolution and Arven. For a single Psychic, including Telepath, Bronzong prevents your opponent from playing a Pokemon from hand to evolve somebody in play. Previously, TM Evolution got around that. Well, not anymore. And if you're worried about going second, that's actually a good thing because of Salvatore. Play with the Sharp-Dressed Man, evolve any of your Pokemon in play into something without an ability. While you could include 4 Call Bell, 4 Pokegear's a safer bet with Totsadiri and Air Balloon as a backup. Then it's a simple case of Evolution Jammering every single turn, pairing Bronzong with Froslass and probably including Clefairy to hit Dragons for weakness and Munkidori to counteract any Munkidori they might have. Unfortunately, De-Evolution is gone as well, so if they get just a single turn to evolve, you're screwed. And if you square up against a basic heavy deck, well, pack it in. But if everything goes right, you can play Meowth to find Salvatore turn 1, then force the Lucario deck to only attack with Solrock, which honestly seems not great for you. But think of how amazing you'll feel when a Dragapult player rage quits after realizing they can't do anything. For an honorable mention, I do want to say that Rabsca might see a bump in playability. Shaman only protects single prizers, and Mega Starmie does seem like a problem, one-shotting Fezandipity and Meowth. Rabsca stops that, as well as Dragapult pings. It doesn't, however, prevent Dusknoir from blowing its load all over you. Obviously, there's plenty of other cards that will become meta-relevant after March 26th that I couldn't fit into this top 10 list, like how I couldn't fit more than 10 toes into my mouth until I pulled the Joker. So let me know in the comments which cards you think will see a rise in use post-rotation, which I might remind you is just a month away.